Hello fellas. Do you hate the British? Does their caveman cuisine infuriate you greatly? Does their complete lack of dental care make you want to jump off a bridge? And does their unintelligible gibberish they call an accent insult you on a personal level?
Tomorrow.
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 It's tomorrow.
No, it's tomorrow.
Since the unfortunate passing of their queen, they have elected a new prince. Grimgor Ironhide. Grimgor has a unique take on foreign policy, in that when someone disagrees with him, he yells at the top of his lungs, decapitates them, and declares total war on their nation. This nuanced tactical strategy led to them rapidly gaining ground and spreading like an infestation. And as a certified European citizen, I have a moral obligation to stop them. And I'm the only one that can. Today in Total War Warhammer 3, I will be playing as Tamerkan, the Maggot Lord. He is a recent addition to the Warhammer 3 roster, bringing his own brand of hygiene avoiders to the field. And possibly the only person in the world who can give the Brits a run for their money in the field of looking hideous and making no goddamn sense.
Right.
Tamerkan's faction mechanic is that he can recruit chieftains from different flavors of chaos, providing his roster with a variety of units, unique army actions, and faction-wide buffs. My objective will be to recruit all of these chieftains and complete their final battle, and with their help, put an end to British colonialism once and for all. Can I succeed in my quest of uniting all the different branches of r/incels, or will the tea enthusiasts have the final laugh? Only one way to find out. We begin our adventure in the plains of Zembijin, or more commonly known as modern-day Sweden. Our first opponents are some Scandinavians, and as tradition, you always fight the first battle. We get a chance to look at our beautiful units, such as Tamerkan himself, Rot Knights, and Plague Ogres. With only my Chaos Warriors not looking like living Indian street food, we trample over the defenders and take their settlement. We can manage our chieftains through a unique resource called Dominance. I like to imagine this means physically dominating and pinning each of them to the ground in an oiled-up wrestling match. The first one I got is Kha'Zix the Befouled. I'm gonna let him introduce himself. Nice to meet you. He provides my armies with units I can already recruit and pretty mediocre army effects. But he is an extremely powerful cavalry lord. Puts some Rot Knights under his command and he will always be a thorn in the enemy's backsides. I take a few turns to muster my forces and march on the floating mountain. The AI's response to this was to abandon the settlement, do a ring around the rosy, and die. Truly one of the Total War AI moments of all time. Our starting war is with Kolek Suneater, someone who steps on Legos for fun, splits wood with his bare hands, and drinks his coffee without milk, and I have personally never seen him smile. I try setting up an ambush for him, but my lord is 10 feet tall and 12 feet wide, with stench around him like a smoke signal. Not someone you would consider sneaky. So I was spotted, and Kolek decided to retreat. I take one of his vassals' settlements, and on the following turn, Kolek moves in for the attack. Loading into the battle, I set up my infantry line out of 6 different units. 7 if you count the Nurglings. Welcome to playing Chaos. Kolek was a formidable opponent, but I told a group of Genshin Impact players that if they beat him up with clubs, their favorite, definitely of legal age, waifu would become real. So he didn't stand a chance. His defeat awarded me with enough dominance to recruit another chieftain, Ezra Miller. He provides dwarf blunderbusses and artillery, with some pretty useful army effects. Especially this one. You will see later. He himself buffs the hell out of range units, making him pretty useful. Around this point I realized that every one of these heroes are just a different brand of racist. They each want me to attack a specific marginalized group for them to like me. Ezra particularly wants me to kill rats, the Brits, and short people. Weird how he himself is 2 of those. I take his final settlement and secure my starting territory. Opening up my map, I start sizing up my neighbors to see who I should introduce myself to next. To our north is Archeon the Ever-Chosen, bringer of end times, destroyer of the world. But he's low-key just a chill guy for real, who doesn't want to do anything with us. So I leave him alone. To our right is Zlatan the Black, but he's neither black nor Zlatan, so I decided to go after him for his stupid naming choice. I make a second army, name the general Stinky Fart 42 and leave him behind to hold the fort. Their first army is made of mostly laborers, so I take great pleasure in auto-resolving them. I push deeper into his territories and come face to face with the dwarf himself. Since I'm a Nurgle faction, I concoct a disease and give him AIDS before engaging him. Unfortunate for him, my lord just unlocked his mount, Bubolos, a massive creature called a toad dragon. This is the equivalent of a whale with legs and teeth. Cute, isn't it?
I'm under your bed.
To give you an idea of how huge this boy is, this is how he looks on the end battle screen. If you ever need a free therapy, just watch one of these things stomp through a unit of gnoblars. Trust me, it's quite satisfying. After Zlatan fell, I quickly secured the rest of his territory and recruited my third chieftain, Grookmore Threehorn. Don't worry, he just looks like he has shell shock, but I assure you he's just from Florida. He gives our faction beastmen units, which are pretty strong. After the defeat of the Chaos Dwarfs, I find myself face to face with the average botlane duo. He's Village, a Tzeentchian follower. Here's a fun fact: we hate Tzeentch, and another fun fact: Tzeentch hates us. So I decided to break the ice between us by declaring war on him and beating him the fuck up. So I quickly rush his capital and we engage in a siege battle. Yippee! I love siege battles! I loved it so much that I clicked the end battle screen out of reflex, so I don't have any cinematic shots of this fight. Tides of Nurgle Chaos Warriors climbed his walls as revolting monstrosities crashed through his gates, with Kasich leading a flank attack at the head of his Rot Knights. After a few minutes of fighting, the city was ours. While my main forces were occupied with chokeslamming Village through a table, my second army was preparing to launch our first attack against the orcs. I sent a hero to scout out his lands and the second one to give his citizens liquefied tongues.
Yummers.
As my hero scoured his lands, Grimgor was nowhere to be seen. This is a golden opportunity for me to stab him in the back. So despite them being strength rank 7 and us being strength rank 36, I declared war on the orcs. During our first battle, we get to see Threehorn's ability to summon a Cygor, a one-eyed beast who will serve as an artillery piece, hurling boulders at the enemy. Funny thing is that he has this ability twice as a bound spell and twice as a normal spell, meaning he can summon 4 of the things. Very nice. Kasich reached the devoted level fealty, so I did his final battle, which was laughably easy. I had to kill 3 cultists who were performing a ritual that made this great unclean one guy invincible. Chosen bogged down the invincible fat dude while Rot Knights flanked around and stabbed the cultists. After which the unclean one evaporated within seconds of losing his invulnerability. I start rerouting my main army towards the orcs while my second army continues to capture undefended settlements. They arrive just in time since Grimgor just showed up with 2 full stacks. I quickly summon a cultist and infect him with a bubonic plague before retreating. They march on Gorger Rock wanting nothing more than to crush my head into modern art. Charging in, I separate the 2 armies with the use of Lightning Strike and we engage in battle. During our fight, I abuse the AI just a tiny bit. See, if the AI is the defender in a given battle, it will refuse to march on you, no matter what, meaning you can hammer them with artillery and they won't do anything about it. They do shoot back with their own goblins, cosplaying as Batman, but I use an army ability to summon demons on them. With the enemy catapults out of commission and their strongest unit at a quarter HP, they finally close the distance, and the infantry clash begins. Grimgor himself was a menace, and got my lord down to half HP, at which point I quickly pulled him back and turned to the American solution.
because I live in a shithole. Do you know what I mean? Birmingham is a fucking shithole.
This was a pretty major win for us, allowing me to capture all of Grimgore's and this random ogre faction's territory. They managed to re-recruit Grimgore at his last settlement, where it went pretty similarly. I annihilated his army, and my collection of toads dogpiled him.
Birmingham is a fucking shithole. I hate the fucking place. I fucking hate it. It's full of dickheads. I fucking hate it. Yeah. Woke up this morning, I'm fucking pissed off.
Around this time, I was starting to get worried that this campaign was gonna be a little too easy. Oh, how wrong I was. I recruited a third army and named the general 72 and 2 more chieftains, Kethak Fimidarch and Mournhowl. Both are Norscan fellows who give us some pretty good units, one of them being a decent caster and the other one is a wolf. Mournhowl wants me to kill any kind of furry, fat people or midgets, which can be done. But this one-eyed dickhead wants me to kill high, dark or wood elves. This would normally be pretty based, but every elven faction is literally on the other side of the map, thousands of kilometers away. Like, how am I supposed to get from here to there, you fucking idiot? My only saving grace is that he can gain fealty from research and random events, which I really hope will be enough. I was planning on declaring war on Grisus Goldtooth next, since his revolting obesity was making me jealous. Only my lord is allowed to be ugly and fat. But the Chinese declared war on me first. I start marching my main army towards them, and around this time I realize Grimgore is actually still alive. Turns out he had settlements further away, so we will be hearing from him again. But for now, I swallow my pride and take his peace offer. I expect Miao Ying to declare war on me soon, so I send PP's army to hold the wall. Kind of ironic how the wall is supposed to keep chaos out and I'm gonna use it to keep Cathay in. Here I make a bit of a mistake. A critical blunder, one might say.
Boss, what we doing?
I send Stinky into Cathay territory to back up my main force, which at first seemed like a good idea. But then, the ogres declared war. Now, my main army is in no position to protect my lands from the overweight Mongolian that is about to charge at me with all 800 pounds of his body. So I'm forced to go into a gigantic money deficit to field a fourth army. Now I'm definitely walking on thin ice. The only thing keeping me from bankruptcy is plagues that reduce upkeep and stealing money from the Chinese. This battle will be crucial to stop the ogres from taking most of my lands, so I do what any self-respecting player would do. Recruit regiments of renown in a panic before the fight. The first army descends upon me, and I manage to fend it off. But the second army, the one Grisus himself is leading, proved to be quite a bit more difficult. Great Unclean Ones are normally pretty ass. They are slow, don't do much damage and can be pretty easily shot down by missiles. But with technologies I unlocked a bunch of bound spells for them, making them a semi-decent caster. I recruited a regiment of renown Unclean One named Uncle Faruncle. I'm not kidding, that's literally just his name. That aside, he proved to be quite the asset on the battlefield, applying massive debuffs to the enemy, spirit leeching the enemy general, even healing my own units with fleshy abundance, and personally fighting on the front lines. Truly a legend. I salute you, Uncle Faruncle. With this resounding victory, my cities remain safe for now, but the war isn't over. Tamerkan has been going on a rampage through Cathayan territories, unlocking maximum fealty with Ezra Miller, giving us access to the Chaos Dwarf artillery piece known as the Dreadquake Mortar. And let me tell you, this thing doesn't mess around. Additionally, I unlocked the last of the chieftains, Kargan the Crazed. He gives us access to Chaos Undivided units, namely Hell Cannons and Dragon Ogres, and some pretty powerful army abilities. He gains fealty from killing any human race, meaning he just hates humanity. Kind of understandable, to be honest. After a few turns have passed, my war with Cathay and the ogres is going pretty swimmingly. PP has successfully fended off Miao Ying, Uncle's and Stinky's army have kept the ogres at bay, while Tamerkan continues to shake down the Chinese for their spare change and give them swirlies in the bathroom. The ogres have grouped all of their forces at the Mo Gate, a key choke point settlement. Victory here would mean winning the war, so my second army tags in Tamerkan to fight this crucial battle, while he goes after the now beat up Cathay. Winning this battle granted Stinky enough XP to ascend to Demonhood. Chaos Generals can make this choice when they reach level 15, which effectively resets their level to 8, granting them a whole new skill tree and a bunch of abilities, and also makes them look like this. Really cool mechanic, honestly. So Stinky Fart 42 ascended to Stinky Fart 43. Brilliant. With that being said, my clash with the sentient tumor that is Greece's Ghoultooth begins. After this victory, the ogre's cities were ripe for the taking. A few more battles and Autorizovs later, I have taken most of Greece's lands and gladly pieced him out. One turn I was about to go homeless due to my negative 4,000 income. This caused all my units to start abandoning me, and if I don't solve this soon, it could be problematic. So I did the only rational decision. I banzai charged PP's army straight into the Cathayan wall, causing his entire army to die except for him. This granted me a good amount of gold and actually put me in the positive for a singular turn. If I were a Soviet general, I think I would receive a golden medal. Anyways, with the ogres pieced out and starvation fended off, I can give my undivided attention to the Asians. All four of my armies razed, sacked and occupied every settlement they could, carving a warpath through Cathay. Few things happened. I am now insanely rich. PP72 ascended to Great Unclean One, becoming PP73. Peak comedy, I know. I also fought a battle against Miao Ying, where she had 7 units of cannons, and I had 1. I'm not a qualified statistician, but I think that's an unfavorable ratio. But this wasn't an issue, because just as Sun Tzu famously said, the Total War AI is retarded. I mounted my lord on a rotfly and used its speed to fly back and forth, dodging the cannon's shots until they ran out of ammunition. And with them being the defender and none of his units taking direct damage, the AI didn't move a muscle. After a few minutes of this, all of the cannon's ammunition was used up and I marched my army forwards. I have to say, watching 7 groups of artillery teams charge into melee combat was quite hilarious to witness. Safe to say, we won that battle. In another instance, I showcased how broken one of Ezra Doombolt's abilities really is. 3 armies were holding a defensive position at Baleful Hills. Tamerkan's army at this point was quite powerful. He has a Mammoth, a Nurgle Soulgrinder, a full front line of Chosen, insanely roided up Rot Knights, in addition to Tamerkan himself being a one-man army. And of course, can't forget about the Dreadquake Mortar. Jumping into battle, I Lightning Strike Autorizov one army, then Lightning Strike Autorizov another army, after which I used Doombolt's ability to replenish my entire army to full, and Autorizov the last army plus the settlement. 3 armies and a walled settlement gone, just like that. After absolutely demolishing Cathay's main force, the rest of his lands were left completely undefended, and so began the proper feasting of the Chinese. In the span of a few turns, my lands have effectively doubled, and my income went from negative 4,000 to positive 6,000. And I reached maximum fealty with all of the chieftains. The only thing left to do was to fight all of the battles and the campaign would be complete. Well, shit. The orc endgame scenario just popped. Meaning Grimgor got a little mad at me, tripled his standing military, yelled insanely loud, and started charging towards my position with murderous intent. Not good. I need to fight these quest battles quickly and rush to defend my western border. First one up is Ezra's battle against some greenskins. Our objective is to destroy this rogue idol. Pile of rocks, meat, gun. Next one is Treehorns against 3 full stacks of beastmen. This one was quite difficult. I set up my army in a defensive hexagon shape and braced myself for the oncoming beastman onslaught. Next one is Mournhouse, where we have to save some of his people from being turned into fur coats. This one was pretty easy, especially because the AI seemed to be a little bugged. They kinda just sat there staring at the wolves, not really doing anything. Whatever, I'll take it. Katsak's fight was against Siege. Nothing of note happened, we kinda just beat them up. The last one was Kargan's fight against his evil twin. After a bit of that, and this, and a little bit of that, we won. I'ma be honest, these quest battles kinda sucked. They were all either hilariously easy or just plain annoying. But whatever, one of our main objectives has been completed. Now it was time to march all of my forces for the final showdown against the orcs. I placed my forces in a defensive position along my border, awaiting the greenskin horde. Pressing N-turn, I scoured the map, and then, there it was. 9 full orc armies have just arrived. I grouped my forces together, and the largest, most brutal, most sexually arousing battle, the one to end it all, could begin. And my game crashed. Turns out 13 full armies engaging in a battle was a bit much for my computer. On the second attempt, I made it to the loading screen. And crashed again. But on take 3, I actually managed to load in. By allowing control large army and putting 2 other armies under the AI's control, I could field 4 full armies at once, leading to 8 armies being on the field at the same time, and the result was nothing short of spectacular. And that does it for this video. I could continue and capture the remaining orc settlements and go on to fight the Empire, but I don't want to. I managed to use Discord ideators to annihilate the Chinese, Redditors and Genshin players to put an end to British colonialism and achieve world peace. Now I'm gonna go on a relaxing car drive with my best friend. I hope you guys enjoyed and thank you for watching.
Better than me, you're another thing. I just don't want to It's to the gun show, and I'm not giving it to you. I'm going with your tickets.